Good morning, or I guess it's good afternoon, right? Happy Friday, everybody, as you're coming into the session. As we're waiting for a few folks to trickle in, I'm gonna go ahead and my name is April Tinhorn, and I own Tinhorn Consulting, where we've been igniting Indigenous connections for over a decade through our marketing, training, and tribal liaison services. And we've been just blessed to be able to offer a place for us all to connect during pandemic when we've been physically distancing since March. We're on episode number 20, which is about traditions. So to get us all warmed up in this space, because the best part about Eat, Learn, and Grow is that we connect with each other in a safe space. Is we're coming up on the holiday season, so my question to you, the age-old question, is real or fake Christmas trees? If you can use your chat button or use the chat function, if you look at the very bottom of your screen in the middle, there's an icon that says chat. You can click on there, and that's the question. Help me solve that one. Real or fake Christmas trees? Yep, Tim, well, you come from the land of real, right, trees, so you probably just go out and chop it down. Yep, Monica, definitely real. Um, yeah, oh yeah, the smell for sure. Like where I'm from, Wallapai, we're people of the tall pines, so we were fortunate that they used to put real Christmas trees in our classrooms. So that's an awesome tradition, as the smell of real trees. But now, living in the, yep, Gail, real, Lisa, real. Hey, Marty, fake in Oklahoma where trees are scarce. Now as an urban Indian, fake is where it's at for me. It's I don't have that White House budget to get like what the sacred tree selected for Christmas and put up in our front yard, like at the White House. Next question. Yeah, fake. Wish we could do real each year. Definitely agree, Sherry. Okay, so the next question I have for you is that this one's tough too if you're like me, where I'm really trying to lay low on the carbs for health reasons. But you know, we all get to have a fun meal every now and then. So during our holiday dinner, what is on your table? Or which one do you reach for? Do you reach for tortillas or fry bread? And you can put it in the chat. Tortillas, ooh, fry bread. You betcha, Tim. And ooh, we got a lot of fry breads. Ooh, and someone's been having dessert early with honey. I agree with that, Marty. Um, Fry bread. Oh, yeah, Monica. Same here. I'm open to all invitations. Hey, all right, Lisa. You're like, well, I have to choose both, right? And next question, thank you for participating with that. So next question, as you see in this picture, this is myself and my marketing and branding ambassador of Tinhorn, also known as Tinhorn 2.0. That's my daughter, Zoe Bear. And she recently asked me, is Santa real, Mom? So that's the question I have. Is Santa real? And what would you tell her? Mm-hmm. Yes, Monica and Sherry. I definitely said they were real. And we even have the little bell from, what is that story? Polar Express, right? With the bell. Yep. And I'm like, I still have it. I'm like, I believe, I believe. So that's what I told her. I said, as long as you believe in him, then he is real. Ooh, Monica. Yep. As a business owner, the news wouldn't wouldn't cover his travels if he weren't real. And yeah, you saw him. I'll let him know that. I'll let her know that you saw Santa at the mall.
Stay with me, sweetheart.
I like that. Let's see. Last question. What is your favorite holiday song? And we'll even give bonus points if you want to unmute and sing a bar or two of it. Ooh, White Christmas. That's a good one, Marty. Hey, Tim, the weather outside is frightful. Shoot, it is. We were 80 degrees here in Phoenix on Monday, and then what, 59 the next day. So yes, the weather outside is frightful, Tim. And actually, I'll sing you a little one. I remember in our elementary school in Peach Springs, I grew up on the Walpi Reservation, and I remember for a Christmas program, like singing "Ging-a-ling-a-ling, ging-a-ling-a-ling, ging-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, oh locote chupacho," and I don't remember the rest. Hey.
Oh,
So there's some, I'll start that one out. But I think, oh, Santa Claus is coming to town, like that one too. Oh, Holy Night, rocking around the Christmas tree. Oh, come all ye faithful. I love all these songs. They help get us all in the mood. And I think we can still do that,
yeah.
because we're doing now and still be safe. Next slide, Lisa. So again, I welcome you to the 20th episode of Eat, Learn, and Grow with Tinhorn, which was birthed just to provide us a place to connect. And this episode is brought to you by Tinhorn, and Tinhorn helps disrupt perceptions about Indigenous people through our marketing, training, and tribal liaison services. So if that's something we can help you with, definitely would love to do that. Go ahead and keep moving on, Lisa. Go ahead and advance the next one. Um, Alrighty, we got a little advance there, but that's all right, because what has pandemic taught us? It's that we all are flexible. We can all pivot and adapt, and that's what we'll do during this time. I wanted to talk about the topic, which is traditions, in particular winter traditions. And for a lot of us as Indigenous people, winter is the time where, I know for Wallapai, like that's when we can tell our creation stories. There's certain stories and things that happen at different times of the year. And I think if we look at it for even in our personal lives, we have family traditions, and we're in December, so we're definitely in our Christmas traditions times or holiday traditions. If I could ask too, if you could mute yourself, that would be fantastic. Thank you. And that got me thinking, because our family started asking, well, what are we going to do? Because a big part of our traditions is to gather together, right? To eat or to do certain things at this time. And with COVID, and especially hitting many of our tribal reservations and communities hard, I know my community is in lockdown right now. So like we can't even leave yards. And that got me thinking about how can we still adapt and continue our traditions. I think that's something as Indigenous people that we have. That's our superpower, seriously, like to be able to adapt, right? Because we're still here. We are resilient. And that's what I wanted to have us talk about at this time. And I've asked Tim Guardipee to be our first panelist and share his story about tradition. So Tim Guardipee is an enrolled member of the Little Shell tribe and a descendant of the Blackfeet. He was hired back in March 2015 as a PTAC procurement specialist, and he currently oversees the e-commerce project called TRIA.com for the Native American Development Corporation. And TRIA is an online e-commerce website that allows our Indigenous artists to be able to sell their arts and crafts, and TRIA helps them with that. So pass the word on to all your artist friends, especially since this is the time to buy local, buy small business, buy Native. And he also provides business planning assistance and technical assistance as needed to clients, as well as CDFI assistance. For the previous 4 years, he oversaw the SBA business development programs for the Native American Development Corporation. He has a degree in business administration from the University of Montana, and he has over 17 years in community, business, and economic development experience. He has a wide and varied background. He has been a financial advisor for the he has been a financial advisor for the Waddle and Reed, providing retirement and financial planning, a business advisor for the Great Falls Development Authorities. And he's been a program director for the Financial Services for Rural Dynamics Incorporated. He's previously worked as a commercial and agriculture lender for Native American Bank. Hey, they provided my company's PPP loans, so go Native American Bank, the National Development Council of EDFP programs, among others. And he's also a father of 4, and he's married. And we are happy to have Tim with us today, who's going to be sharing his story on traditions. So with that, I'll hand over the digital mic to you, Tim. Thank you for joining us.
Well, good afternoon or good morning to everybody. And I just want to give a special thanks to April for bringing me on board. And we've appreciated getting to know you over the last couple of years and partnering with you on trainings, on development, on training some of our staff as well. And it's just exciting to work with different Native entrepreneurs throughout the U.S. and in other areas that we're able to work through. And so, yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about traditions and kind of what I grew up with and what I saw. And I come from a mixed family growing up, so we kind of saw a little bit of both sides of traditions growing up, but mostly, if you want to call it, the westernized and the religious side of traditions. But you know, more so on that during this time of year, it's like how can we kind of develop the new traditions moving forward and spending time with your family, relationship development, things like that. And for us, you know, things that were cut out this year that traditionally we've been able to do throughout the year. On my wife's side of the family, we do things like every 2 years we gather together as a big family, and there's usually about anywhere from 25 to 30 people, and we go to a certain place, northern Idaho, around Montana, and we do it usually around June or July. And because that's our Christmas time with that family, because in the past, when we tried to do it during traditional Christmas or Thanksgiving, the weather around Montana is terrible to drive in and highly unpredictable this time of year. And so we decided to meet in nice locations, nice weather and things like that. And this year we were planning on going to South Dakota and spending a bunch of time down there in the Black Hills in that area. And of course, along with everybody else's plans, they got canceled. We tried going to Havre again, maybe going out into the Bear Paw Mountains. That got canceled. And so they decided to do it over a Zoom meeting, kind of similar to what we're doing now. It was a different kind of a platform, but they had all of us on there. So there was, I think, 10 or 15 family units. And so each of us had our tiles just like this. And one of the things that we decided to do is, because we always play games during those times and gather, not only games, but food. There's tremendous amount of food and games. And so one of the things that we decided to do over that was play bingo. So we had bingo over that. My kids had a blast. They were screaming the whole time, and we had to keep muting ourselves. But it was a lot of fun. And of course the food, and this year I've had to try some different traditional types of things with food, because I didn't have my mom around for Thanksgiving. They were up north in Blackfeet country, so we didn't travel up there, and we stayed home, close to home. And I emailed a picture to Lisa. I don't know if she's able to have it and pull it up, but we like to garden here in Billings. And so my wife and I are really starting to get into gardening, and we try some different things. And last year we grew some really good zucchinis. So she decided to keep the seeds from those zucchinis. And so we planted them this year, and we were growing them. And of course you pick zucchinis from a tiny little plant upwards to, you know, a pretty big size plant, depending. And these got pretty big, pretty fast. And we were giving them away. We tried to cook with them a couple different times, and the rinds were always so hard. And the meat in the middle was very hard. And we're like, what's wrong with these zucchinis? And towards the end of the season, it was getting close to Thanksgiving time anyways. Towards the end of the season, I was kind of mad at this. So you could see the one here on the left, it kind of looks like it was broke in the middle. And that's because I was so mad. I went outside and I slammed it again. I wasn't really mad. I was just like, man, what's wrong with these dumb zucchinis? And so I slammed it against the ground, and it broke open. It actually was really hard to break it open. And once I got it open, I'm like, what in the world is in the middle of this zucchini? And I'm like, those are pumpkin seeds. And I'm like, what is this going on? And then I smelled the inside of it, and the inside definitely smelled like pumpkin. I was like, there's no way this is a zucchini. And And I think what will happen is our seeds that we saved from last year cross-pollinated with our pumpkins. And because we grew a bunch of jack-o'-lantern pumpkins last year, and we noticed like one of the small zumpkins here, they started to get orange on the bottom. So I wonder if we would have let them grow all the way to the end of the season, they would have been fully orange. But with that, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make a lemonade out of lemons. So I took these inside and I scraped all the stuff out of the inside. I put them in the oven and I roasted them. And so after I got done roasting them, I was like, you know, I'm gonna make a pie out of these things. So I made a pie, and it turned into probably one of the best pumpkin pies that I've ever eaten. And so, you know, that was one of those things I'm starting to learn. We're trying to adapt these different types of things, same things like that. If life is dealing you zumpkins, you make zumpkin pie out of it. And that's what we had to do this year. You know, and a lot of that is around food, and I'm starting to develop these new traditions with my family. My son picked a bunch of choke cherries this year. Earlier, he spent some summertime with his grand folks, and he picked us about 4 gallons of choke cherries. And that's one of the things around Montana. And I grew up doing that with my mom. We'd pick choke cherries, and she'd spend the fall making syrup. And so I took my hand at that, and I took some of his all the choke cherries that he made. And so about 2 weeks ago, I made, I don't know, probably about 10 quarts of syrup, and I still got two big bags of choke cherries to go. I'll probably make some jelly for that. My mom really likes that. So I'm taking these things that I learned growing up with my mom. She's an excellent cook. And so learning some of the styles that she did, learning some of the ways to can and to save our produce that we're starting to grow, and harvesting the different things like the choke cherries and stuff like that. And even with my son, hopefully soon here, I have deer sitting in my freezer. He got his very first deer this year. He's 13. And so we went out and he was able to get his first deer. It only took him 2 shots. When I was little, when I went out with my dad, it took me 9 shots to get my first deer. And the poor thing stood there the whole entire time. And but it was one of those things, you know, you make jerky with it. And so he's wanting to make some jerky and summer sausage. And so hopefully this weekend, I'll probably get that stuff ready, and we'll start making some jerky, summer sausage, and start developing those new traditions with my son, and doing some of the things with the food. And he even went out after that, and he's just so gung-ho, he wanted to try rabbit. So he got himself a rabbit. So he's starting to say, you know, you can get food off the land, wild food, and it's just right around the corner, and turn it into a pretty decent shot. And you know, it's just a matter of going around. And that's one of the things around Billings is I need to find myself a local spot to go harvest berries, and I have to either go back home or go up north where my wife is from, and I can find the different spots for berries. And back home I have Savis berries, or June berries as we like to call them. And so those are the things that I want to look at doing, and showing my kids that what I grew up with. And I've cooked berry soup a couple different times because that's what we grew up with, either during powwow season or later on in the year. And my kids are starting to like stuff like that, and see, you know, the things that you can make out of your local produce or the local things you find, and you pick and you harvest yourself. But it's hard to get up to browning during the right season. It's right around usually late end of July, first part of August. And of course this year we were locked down so much, so I didn't get up there to go pick some June berries. But yeah, it's one of my favorite things. And like Lisa posted up there on there, my favorite place in the world is St. Mary's. And so that's up in the mountains near right on the western edge. So Blackfeet Reservation borders Glacier National Park. Wow. And so thinking about traditions, that's traditionally my extreme favoriteest place in the world. I go on the lake with my dad, and we'd fish and we'd boat. And there was one time that we were on the lake and we were spending time just driving around, him and my sister. And I like to sit on the very front of the boat and just kind of almost fall asleep, especially if it's a glossy lake. And we just see the ducks, the geese, and everything else out there. And there was one time we were driving back to the cabin, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, that's a weird looking duck on the lake. And I was looking, and as we're getting further, I started sitting up because my eyes were half closed. I was falling asleep, and I get up and I was like, that's not a duck. It's like, that's a bear. There was a grizzly bear swimming in the lake. And to be able to get to experience that with my dad and my sister, that was so much fun. He went and he kind of circled it a little bit, but it started to swim back, and we wanted to leave it alone, but we got a little close and we were afraid of it trying to come to the boat, but we wanted to leave him be so he could cross the river and go back up into the mountains. But seeing things like that to me is one of the things that I enjoy the most, is spending the time with my family, doing the things that I grew up with doing. You know, if we're able to harvest food, harvest berries, spend time around family doing games. To me, that's what a lot of it is about, is, you know, that relationship that you have with your family, with your friends. And it's a different way to do relationships. So how do you do relationship during these times? And of course, it's going to be changing over the next year or two, but, you know, we do stuff like this. How do you maintain relationship? And that's a lot of what we as people in Indian country is all about, developing and maintaining and keeping those relationships that that you meet people in, you know, in a moment, you might become friends for a lifetime. You know, I met my best friend across the street from me when I was in first grade, and we've been best friends for literally 30 years now. And so that's one of those things, like, how do you keep and maintain that relationship, whether it's over a phone or a phone call or Zoom, things like that, and just establish new and unique ways of doing that. And so that's kind of my take on relationship, or on tradition. I don't know how much more time I got. I could probably talk all day long about that, about family, about experiences, and what we do, and how we can maintain and gather that tradition. And whether you can go back home and do time during powwows or doing ceremonies and things like that. It's like, where can you spend that time, and how can you do it? And like for us, like this time of year, we traditionally, as an organization at NADC, we host bazaars for our native artists and our crafters and things like that. And so they can sell their goods. We put up booths around our building. We have a pretty big conference room here. And so we try to make that availability, because that's one of the things that as an organization we do, is we try to uplift and provide opportunity and space and things like that for native entrepreneurs around the area to grow and establish themselves. And so we haven't been able to do that. And so one of the things that we've been playing with and we're developing as an organization is these virtual bazaars. And so we started that last week, and we had 12 vendors signed up from around, mostly from Montana. There was some from down south and some of those areas. And so we're trying to adapt to these types of things to help our native entrepreneurs. And so I'm doing another one this weekend. So we're going to do one tomorrow on Saturday, and it's going to continue into Sunday. So it's a space available, just a virtual bazaar that we have available for our native entrepreneurs. They go up, they put their information in, they can go live like this with a Zoom and chat one-on-one with people going in. And that's just what we want to do, is we want to adapt to this change of how we're doing things that we traditionally normally do, especially as we gather and we try to sell one-on-one, and our entrepreneurs can't do those types of things. So as an organization, just like everybody else, we're trying to pivot and point to the needs and to be available for those types of things. So if you guys have time tomorrow, check out our, I could probably post a link in the chat. I'll post a link for our booth. You can register as a vendor. I'll be taking vendor. I say the 11th today is the last day, but I'll pretty much take vendors all week. And if you're a native entrepreneur and you want to showcase your goods, that's awesome. But you can go in there, you can register to shop them, and you can check them out. And just support and just provide an opportunity to support your native entrepreneurs. I think I have some from down south, some from Montana. I've had some from Idaho before. So this is one of those things that we're hoping to grow and provide a space for. And if it proves successful, we want to continue to offer these things. So for these first couple of ones, NADC and TRIA, we're sponsoring these events. You know, and we want to make things easy for our native entrepreneurs to do business. And so this one here, we caught the eye of the social distance powwow. And of course, that's one of those websites that had to do things differently. And so with Dan and his group, you know, we're kind of cross-marketing this and collaborating on this. So hopefully we can do those types of things and gather together in just in a different and unique format. But I know that was a lot of info in a short amount of time, but I get excited this time of year, being able to spend time with people. We're limited with what we can do, and so it's just kind of making lemonade when you're giving lemons, you know.
Exactly, Tim. And I know that's something I miss about this time of the year, is going to all the different Christmas bazaars and, you know, buying jewelry and goods directly from the artists. So thank you for providing that avenue. And also, it's interesting too, during your share, you were talking about really food sovereignty, right? Just getting back to food sovereignty, food sustainability. And I know even here in Phoenix, our Native American Connection Center there, they were running a program for, they have a community garden. and with the zucchinis. I'll have to tell them about the zumpkins idea. But like we got like zucchini and other squashes and onions from their garden, and they made it into a program for like healthier food planning or food preparing, and they gave us recipes as family members. And I learned about like what was it, zucchini lasagna, no, zucchini enchilada casserole, but it was a meatless option, and it was all from goods in their produce. I think this last recipe is zucchini boats, so I'm really excited to try those with my daughter. And so the next part we're going to do now is we're going to go into breakout rooms. And before we do that, Tim has an open-ended question for us to discuss in our breakout rooms. You want to share that with us, Tim?
Yeah, let me find that.
Oh, Lisa has it up for
Oh,
you.
okay. Yeah. So what are some of the ways, like I've talked about relationships, not only with family, but even with like coworkers and friends and colleagues? What are some of the unique ways that you've maintained relationships during this past year?
Thank you. And we're going to be, Zoom's going to break us up into 2 rooms. So just follow the prompts that say join rooms. We'll have 10 minutes to discuss that. And this is the best part. Just think of it as a virtual coffee chat. Grab your drink and let's go ahead and talk about that. So I'm going to break us up. I'll see you back in 10 minutes.
You know, I have found this last year that I have 3 daughters and I've got 2 grandkids, a 9-year-old grandson and a 5-year-old granddaughter. And we've found ourselves using group text a lot. And it's just like, you know, if we're all distanced from each other by
a camera.
I don't have a camera either.
Oh, okay, that's
And
no
for
problem.
some reason, my picture's not showing.
We can imagine what you look like. Welcome. Hey, April.
Well,
Hey, just wanted to jump in and go ahead and facilitate if you'd like, Lisa. I just wanted to join.
Yeah, so I guess the question, what are some unique ways we've maintained relationships, or you've maintained relationships? I can go first. I guess how I've maintained relationships through this crazy thing that we're going through called the pandemic is just by doing a lot of FaceTime with my loved ones. And if they don't have like an Apple phone, I always do Facebook Messenger calls. Just because I like to see people, I like to have that connection with them. And also, when we had my mom's birthday party, she had a birthday in September, I organized a Zoom call. So we were able to connect with family in Illinois, in California, New Mexico. And so it was cool to just have everybody join in together to celebrate my mom's birthday. And I'm just really thankful that, you know, we have platforms like this so that we can connect. And that's mine. That's my story.
this is Gail. I'm a Klamath Indian. I'm over 65, so that'll help you get a better idea of how I look. I'm the Membership and Outreach Coordinator for the Affiliated Tribes of Northwest Indians. So I'm from Klamath, but I live in Albuquerque, long way from my people. So one of the things that I do a lot is Facebook. A lot of us, our families on Facebook, other tribal members are on Facebook, and we all kind of keep in touch that way, and then phone calls. And then as the membership coordinator, I do a lot of Zoom calls with our IANTA members. And we started doing a lot of webinars and other ways of reaching out to people. I have several projects. One, we followed the Lewis and Clark Trail. So we have group calls with people, tribes along the trail. So a lot of Zoom, a lot of social media. Next person.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing, Gail.
That's amazing to hear that you guys are utilizing technology in this way, and I'm probably the most inept person. Well, I'm Alida Montiel, and I'm a member of the Pascua Yaqui tribe here in Arizona, and most of my family, fortunately, live in the Southwest, and I live on the reservation here at Salt River. I'm not living at my own reservation, which is by Tucson, but I live here at the Salt River Reservation by Mesa, Arizona. So I have relatives mostly in Arizona, but it still has been challenging because our families have not been able to have face-to-face gatherings like we are normally accustomed to. It's been hard because the family and the extended family, I mean, my children probably have like 50 cousins.
Oh, wow.
Reservations, you know, they have a lot of we have a lot of extended family and a lot of cousins and first cousins and so forth. And of course, first and second cousins are considered your brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been tough because we've had some birthdays and we've had to exclude people because our own pod, I guess you could say, could only come together and share in that time. So it's been a struggle because we don't like to exclude people, but that's, you know, the way we've had to do it in order for our little ones to celebrate a birthday. So that's been hard, but you know, that's how we adjusted. We had to adjust. I think the kids still enjoyed it. I saw that they were smiling and they were happy, and so we had to limit our numbers. And then what happened last week, we had a birthday party for my youngest grandbaby. He's turned 2.
Yeah, he's 2.
He was born on December 2nd at Phoenix Indian Medical Center in the labor and delivery department. So we had his 2-year-old birthday party on the 2nd, and one of the teenagers, I didn't realize it, but one of the teenagers was extra. I thought it was my son-in-law's children from his first marriage. And one of his children, one of the teenagers brought a friend. And we found out the next day she had tested positive.
Oh, no.
So now we all had to go get tested right after that. And we all got tested negative, fortunately. But I mean, we were all going, just in the last few days, just trying to get tested and get all that back so we could continue and resume on with their lives. So that's what I just experienced.
Oh, that's tough, Alida.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to, go through that. Yeah, 'cause I had a similar experience where it was right before Thanksgiving, and I had been with my friend came over, and then I got a text from him saying that he was positive for COVID. And then I was at that moment starting to feel, the symptoms a little bit. So I got tested, and then the holiday hit. So my test results were delayed. So I didn't know if I had COVID or if I just had a cold or the flu. And we had plans to go to my mom's house and celebrate Thanksgiving with her and my grandmother. So we had to cancel all those plans because I didn't want to risk, exposing my grandmother, who's 90 years old, almost 90, she's 89, to that. So yeah, it was a different Thanksgiving this year for sure.
Yeah. Well, glad you all are okay. And how I've been maintaining my relationships during this time has been doing wellness checks. And I've been actually going old school and just calling people. I am of that generation too. I love to talk. I don't really like to text. I like to hear a voice. I'd really like to see a face. I prefer to give a hug, but trying to be safe. And so that's how I've been just starting a lot of my conversations in my circle is, just like, hey, I'm just wellness check. How's it going? And it's real interesting just having an open question, what people, my friends will share. And I've extended that even to my business relationships. And I think that we're all craving that connection during this time. So even my business connections that we've never really been personal, they're sharing, like what's really going on in their tribal communities and in their families. And so that's something I'm trying to do is just wellness checks with people. And that includes with myself.
Mm-hmm.
How it's been interesting too, like my family day, we like to play board games. So we've been utilizing even like Zoom to be able to like have one camera on just like the board or whatever. Like my mom and I play Scrabble even through technology. I think early on, like 4th of July time, I just threw it out like, hey, this is the Zoom information, and sent it to like all my cousins. And I said, in an hour, jump on if you can. And it was good just to see their faces and see where they're at. And then as far as like the maintaining relationships, I've been thinking about different ways to help people feel connected. And I know I've been a part of conferences where they send like welcome boxes, even though it's now a virtual conference. And it's really nice. My daughter gets all excited when the box comes to open it up and, to smell the like cedar lotions or to put on the different things that are in these boxes, and to even just send items or locally to be able to do like, what are they called? Like boo grams or boo boxes where, you create your own little care package and just hang it on their door. And, like let them, and then leave and, like call or text and let them know like, hey, you've been booed. And so I've been thinking about that for Christmas as well. And I think it's stripping away the way, the delivery, the physical part of it. And it's like, what's the emotion? Like, what's the core emotion that these activities we used to do pre-COVID? And how can I still create that emotion and experience with my loved ones? That's been the challenge, I guess, I've been thinking about. So I believe it's time for us to come back together. So I'm gonna close this now. And just so you know, Alida, you'll be next.
And I got your pictures, Alida, so I got them in the order you said. We're good to go.
Is everybody else coming back? Are we still in breakout rooms? 8. Oh, we still have 46 seconds, it's saying, for breakout room 2 people to come back. So Gail, Alida, or Lisa, essentially, we're still in our breakout room. We're in the big room. If anyone else wants to share anything, we have a couple, like half a minute.
No, I don't have anything. It's just nice to see people again. Haven't talked to people in a while.
Welcome back. It's like I feel like the Wizard of Oz. Hey, I'm sending you all to your room. I'm bringing you back. Hey, welcome back to Kansas, Dorothy. Oh, well, I hope Anyone want to share something that they learned that they think they could apply to help keep those relationships?
No, but I'm very excited about Tim's Bazaar. I mean, we talked about that a lot too, and I think that's really a cool project. And I'm going to log in this weekend and check it out. I think that's going to be really interesting to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's not your question, but
no worries.
Well, I learned based on Tim's information the other day about the bazaar, I found out that the Phoenix Indian Center is also doing one. I think it's the same weekend. I think it's also this weekend. I have to go back to my emails and check it out, but I'm going to check out both.
Cool. Yeah. Got a credit card and willing to shop, right?
Right. Exactly.
Well, thank you, everybody. We're gonna
April,
yeah, go ahead, Gail.
I just wanted to say I really liked your idea about playing games through Zoom, and I thought Monica would really like that. She's a really game master. So I'm going to try that with my family and friends.
Yeah, Monica, I was just sharing with the group that like we love Scrabble and Yahtzee and for the kids Old Maid, and we have this reflective glass that we can all see, called Zoom. So we've been utilizing that, and it keeps us safe and connected.
Great idea.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and transition us to our second speaker. We're so blessed to have Miss Alida Montiel with us, and she is an enrolled member of the Pascua Yaqui tribe and the Director of Health and Human Services at the Intertribal Council of Arizona. She's a chairperson of the Arizona Advisory Council on Indian Healthcare and a member of the Arizona Behavioral Health Planning Council. She has an associate's degree in American Indian Studies from DQ University and a tribal management associate degree from Scottsdale Community College and a bachelor's degree in sociology from ASU. Most importantly, she is a grandmother to 7 grandkids, 4 boys and 3 girls, and she's an active she's active in her AIM and her special place in the prayer tree. So without further ado, I'm going to give you the virtual mic, Alida, to share your story about traditions. Thank you for joining us.
Well, sure. I'd just like to say good morning to everyone. Well, it's afternoon now, so in our time zone, I guess. So I'm really happy to be here and share some ways that we've endeavored to still connect to our traditions here in the Southwest. And so I'm just glad that I can share some things that we've done, but also some challenges. And I've, really enjoyed hearing what you all are doing as well. It really just, I couldn't stop laughing when Tim was talking about the zucchini, the squash. I used to be on the Native Seed Search Board out of Tucson. I served on that board for 4 years. So I used to really grow a lot and save seeds a lot. So I know the struggles that we go through when we try to save our traditional seeds and make sure that they're for future generations. And also just this last summer for us here in Arizona, the desert was extremely hot. And and here's a map of our region in the Southwest. Of course, in Arizona, there are 22 tribes, 22 tribal governments. And then my people, the Yaqui people, are also from Sonora in Mexico. So I've put a map here that shows Sonora. And my people, I'm also, one of my grandmothers was Seri Indian. And so you see that long peninsula below California. And the Seri people are from that part of the country. And the Yaquis and the Mayos are over there. You see the city of Hermosillo is listed there. And so that's the capital of Sonora. And so that area, and if you follow the rivers, that's where our people lived at in Mexico. And so before there were borders, and just amazing to me that both Tim and I are on this panel together, because there you have the far northern area of the country, and they have tribes that live along the border, you know, with Canada. And then here with the Yaquis and the Ottoms and the Maricopas, the Pipash, the Ottoms, Donna Ottom, Yachat Ottom. My children are part Donna Ottom, Akamut Ottom, river people. And so I live here at the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community. And my reservation, the Pascua Yaqui tribe, was federally recognized in the mid-1970s. And so our reservation is actually physically located by Tucson, but the majority of our tribal people still live in Mexico, but we have 7 villages in the United States. So all the way up to Guadalupe, Arizona, located in the Phoenix metro area. So that's where I'm from. I just wanted to give you a sense of our people, and here's a picture of our esteemed deer dancers. Our culture is really based on the deer dance. And so our deer dancer connects to the spirit world. And so this time under COVID has really been about learning more, reading more, investigating more about our cultures. And so this, why I wanted to show this picture is because our cultures nourish our soul. And I always look to something that nourishes my soul in terms of being able to be more balanced mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and then hopefully physically, you know, being balanced. But the deer dancer is really the one that is the deer dancer opens the door to the spirit world, which for us is called the flower world. So when we go on into the spirit world, when it's our time to go, we go through the flower world. And so we have a lot of culturally based knowledge that stems from these types of teachings. There's so much I could go into: the flowers, the hummingbirds, the butterflies, the birds, just everything is alive. And when the deer dancer dances, you begin to get a mental picture of, and sometimes we even connect to it spiritually, that the desert, although it looks dry and it looks hot, but when you look at it through a spiritual realm, it's full of life, it's full of flowers, it's full of animals. And so that to me is something that resonates with me when I see the deer dancer at our ceremonies. So I did want to tell you about, we found it difficult to conduct our ceremonies during COVID. And one of the parts of the ceremony that I'm responsible for is the spring ceremony. During the spring ceremony, I've been teaching Aztec dancing, danza azteca. I've been participating in it since I was 19 years old. But I have received the rights to conduct a circle and to conduct these ceremonies. And my relations and my elders at the Yaqui tribe have allowed us to conduct these ceremonies during the time frame of our deer dance that we have in March, or it's around Easter time. So if you go back real quick to the fire, I did want to tell you that normally we have this ceremony all night long, and we would actually be doing this ceremony tonight. It would be all night long, and we would be sitting around the fire. And so what we've had to do is do it basically with very few people out in the desert. And we had to limit it to, because the tribe had a limit on 10 people and social distancing, we had to conduct the ceremony in that way. And so this actually is a photo from last year. And so what we're going to do this year, we're not going to do it tonight, but we're going to go by the ancient calendar in order to do the ceremony that we would have done tonight. We're going to do it in accordance with the ancient Aztec calendar, which puts it right at the changing of the season to winter, which I believe this year will be around the 19th or 20th of December. But last year when we conducted this ceremony, I went ahead and took this picture because I was very surprised that it was such a moving ceremony for us, because this is our new year. The new year, as you know, was considered January 1st, but in ancient times, the new year was in the springtime with the spring equinox. So we would be doing it at that time. And we have a ceremony for every part of the year, the seasons that change. We have the equinox in the spring. We have the summer. We have the solstice. And then in the, just for every part of the season, we're doing a ceremony. And in fact, there's a ceremony actually every month, now that I think about it. We could really be busy. But this is a picture from last year, and we just had to abide by those restrictions. So we went out into the desert, and we thought about how when our people had to go undercover to conduct their ceremonies, what they went through so they wouldn't be picked up by the cavalry and put into those stockades, and how a lot of our ceremonies had to go underground. And that's not the case now, but we feel like if they had to go through those hurdles, that this is not comparable, but it makes us feel like we can get through this. We can get through this and still, have our lives enriched by our ceremonies. And so this was from last year, where we just had like 8 people conduct the whole ceremony all night. And then the next picture shows us where we were actually out there during the daytime. This is not from that year. This is not from last spring. This is actually from the year before that, because it shows us all lining up and getting ready to dance. And so I just wanted to show you, this is actually in Guadalupe, Arizona, one of the Yaqui villages. And so we're getting ready to go out into the circle, and here's a picture of the dance group and some of us together there with our altar. This is one of the times that we dance for Dia de los Muertos over at the Desert Botanical Gardens. And then I'm not sure what else I provided. Oh, yeah, let's see. Oh, the grandkids are here. So I guess I would just want to say that we've endeavored to conduct our ceremonies even during COVID. But there are other things that I would say nourish your soul? And that's kind of my question is, like, for example, one of the things that nourishes my soul is here at my home place here at the reservation is there's a tree that when we first moved here, it started growing. And it's just like become the biggest tree on the property. It's a palo verde. And I was very surprised that it just, because this part of this allotment that the family has down through the generations was formerly just a field, and they grew cotton and other things here. But when we cleared it out and we put up a teepee to have a teepee meeting, that was the first thing we did, was we set up the teepee and we invited relatives to help us. They conducted a service for us, and we just wanted to pray for our home place. And then this tree started growing. And so it's turned into our prayer tree. And so I go there, you know, I try to make it out there every morning at sunrise. And, you know, we put our offerings there and we do our smudge there. And we also have an altar in our home. It's something that the Yaquis do. It's something that the tribes in Mexico do. And many tribes do. We have a place where we keep our sacred items that we can put out. And we have our smudge there and, you know, do that for ourselves. So I guess my question is about, you know, what are you doing to nourish your soul? And like one of my family members, she really likes to go to mass on Christmas Eve. And so I know that's probably what she'll be doing to nourish her soul. And there could be other things that you're doing, like our family loves to hike. And so we try to do that, our pod. And we're doing that as a pod. With if we go out a place where a lot of people are hiking, we always mask up. So far we're good.
Well, thank you so much, Alida, for sharing how you're adapting your traditions so that we can remain safe. And thank you, Tim, as well for telling us, sharing with us about your food journeys. All I did was got hungry listening to you. And Alida was sharing that picture of the fire. Like, I know it's a picture, but I could almost feel like that warmth looking at it. So thank you for sharing that as well. Next slide, Lisa. So as I'd like to bring us to a conclusion, but a few things before we go is that at Tinhorn, the 2020, our theme was basically #StayAlive. And that's how Eat, Learn, and Grow was born, is that I wanted to provide a space for us to just connect and know that you're not alone. And as we were thinking about 2021, our new hashtag is going to be Tech Ease 2021, because most of us think of difficulty and obstacles when we think of technology, but we're going to help make it help us ease into technology, because with a lot of our tribal communities being in shutdown, we're going to, I believe, continue to use technology, and we want to help you with that. You'll see that we have our calendar. The third Fridays of every month for 2021 is going to be our Eat, Learn, and Grow on different digital literacy topics. And we're starting, this is kind of like the prereqs. We're starting with like how to organize your digital files. You know, how many times have we said, where is this file? I can't find it. Another one really important now is think before you click. There's so many phishing emails. We're getting scammed. We can get viruses on our computers or our networks. We're going to talk about managing our calendars, because I know mine beeps at me and it lets me know where I'm supposed to log into. We're going to talk about the power of Googling it. Web searches, another one, love thy website, because we do need to give it some TLC. We're going to talk about smartphones, hosting Zoom meetings, the power of connecting with people digitally using our email communication blasts, e-newsletters, texting campaigns, digital designing tools using free apps, and lastly, collaboration tools. And around Christmas time is where we'll have the full, you'll be able to register online at tinhorn-consulting.com /learn. And Lisa has put it in the chat, but if you can put it again, we'd love to, continue to mail you some holiday cheer. And if you opt in and give us your mailing address, we'll send you the Tinhorn holiday postcard, which has really been a picture of my family. And you'll see Zoe grow from like being a baby to now as an 8-year-old. Next slide. And as always, I'd love to extend the offer to you if you would love to meet with us for a mini consultation in the areas of marketing, training, and tribal liaison. We offer 20-minute consultations. Shoot, if you even just want to have a virtual chat with us with coffee and my Diet Coke, let's do it. We have the link, our Calendly link to do that as well. So I'm offering that to everyone on today's session. And next slide. We'd like Hanke, from the bottom of my heart. I thank you for your continued support of Eat, Learn, and Grow this year. And it began as an idea to connect, and it's become a place of comfort and discussion. And in 2021, it's going to be about helping us ease into technology. And as this is our last ELG of 2020, we look forward to a great new year and hope you'll join us.